the main agenda for today is to go over Learncycles, introduce you to the workflows, the automated functions in the system, and also help you set up some basic workflows today. Now, looking at the participants list, I can see that some of you work for organizations that are still on our classic edition. So you may not go back and see what I'll be showing you today in your edition or in your application, So just call us back if you would like a demo or anything of that sort, and we can take you through the entire standard edition or the premium edition. The Learncycles are part of only our new edition. All right, so going ahead, just so that you understand the control panel of your webinar tool today, because we've changed from GoToMeeting to Zoom, just click on that raise hand button to raise your hand to ask a question. You can also click on, oh, sorry, Rhonda, I'm just going to quickly speak to you. Yeah, do you want to just unmute your mic and talk to me, Rhonda? All right, so you've lowered your hand. Okay, that's good. So mainly, if you have any trouble hearing me or looking at my screen, anything of that sort, I'm happy for you to raise your hand now, just so that I can solve that issue before I can go ahead. I have more than 50 people registered today, and almost 33 are on the call. So just let me know if you have any issues. I would love to keep the questions typed in to the question bank. So just click on the Q&A tab to type in your questions. I'll get to them towards the end of the session, if I could. And then click on the chat to chat with other participants, or you can even put in your questions into the chat box. I will be looking at my chat, as and when I pause in between. All right, looks like everybody is good. All right, any questions till now? So you're happy, you should be seeing all these icons and the tabs just on your own control panel. So it would either be at the top left or the bottom right corner. Okay, so now going ahead and looking at the differences in the classic and the new edition. So as I mentioned before, some of you are still on the classic edition. So if you look at your invoices or the subscription proposal, you will see that you're either on the Essential, Professional, Team, or the Ultimate edition. If you are requiring to use the Learncycles and you want to move over to the new edition, then you'll have to be either on the Standard, Premium, or Enterprise. All right. If you go into wisenet.co/compare, you will be able to find the perfect fit, the perfect edition for your organization. So do visit our website on wisenet.co/compare to see what best suits your organization if you're not already on one of our new editions. Jeet, I can see that you've raised your hand. Not sure if you had a question there or were you just testing the raise hand. And I also know that you're on one of our other editions, so I'm happy to speak to you towards the end of the session if you did have any questions. All right. Now, if you're not very familiar with where to find these edition plans or how many licenses and all that, just log into Wisenet, click on the subscriptions and billing tab at the top, and you will see how many licenses and what edition you have for the Wisenet LRM application. All right, so in today's session, what I'm going to be talking about is what is a Learncycle, what you can achieve with the trigger conditions, how do you set them up, what is a Learncycle activity, as well as how these activities can be triggered within a Learncycle. So these are the topics that I'm going to be covering today. Now, when you're talking about the trigger conditions, obviously the student has different stages, throughout the life cycle of that student, from inquiry to completion. He's going to go through these different stages, and it's like a wave, because he's going to inquire about the course, enroll into the course, and then you have your progression of that student within the course itself. So the Learncycles kind of fit into every journey of that student, be it from being just an inquiry or a lead to an enrollment and being a graduate. So we have introduced 3 trigger conditions in the system. So you can either use, a setup where it works as soon as the student enrolls into the course, or when a particular enrollment status changes. Let's say the student is inquired, you move him into pending, and then from pending he goes to current. So you can assign certain activities to occur at all these different stages. Plus, we've also got the status reason. So the status reason is a customizable drop-down. You can add any reasons for all the different statuses you choose against the student's course enrollment. So let's say when the student is current, you still have to do so many different things, check enrollment documents or check USIs or check if all the resources have been sent to the student, have trainers been assigned if it's a workplace-based student, all that. So you could have different status reasons linked to that one status and assign activities to a combination of these triggers. I've put in like a small pro tip in there. So I always recommend, when you're starting off, setting up your Learncycles, to start small, test it out first, trial it with a dummy group. So just create a course offer, call it a test course offer, add probably your staff members as clients in there with their own email addresses, so you can actually see how the message templates look like when you receive them as an email. Are all the links working? Are all the images, displayed correctly? And is it triggering at the right points? Or, if it's even working at a level where, because you can blind copy your workplace contacts and trainers to all your stakeholders. So you really don't want to mess this up and send the wrong emails to the wrong people. So it's basically always good to just trial it out on a test course offer and roll it out progressively. Now, if you're on a premium edition, you will be always, wanting to even, obviously you're going to have a lot of intake, so you'll be wanting to copy course offers. In the same way, you can even import Learncycles. We've had some little bit of issues with other clients importing activities. It also creates duplicates, so you just have to be mindful of how you're importing these activities, which we will be looking at when we go into the application, and I'll show you how it's done and what's the best way to set these things up. Now, talking about the activities, I kept mentioning like you can have a lot of activities triggered, but let's look at what activities can be triggered. So you can either create a task and assign it to an internal staff member. If you've already started using Learncycles, you will see that we have introduced an option called Learner. It's not built yet, but it's just for future development purposes. So you can't assign an activity at the moment to a learner, but you can definitely assign it to any staff members within your application. Just remember to have a profile created for every staff, be it a trainer or an admin person. So you can create a task to any of your internal staff members. You can send a message out to your clients, your trainers, your agents, workplace contacts, or even third parties. So you can just copy and paste it into the section and it'll automatically send the email out. You can generate your report documents like training plans or welcome letters, letter of offers, and contracts. Like if you have any, if you're a VET student loan provider, you might have already seen this. You can run your account notices and invoices and all that through the U report. Of course, we do have another automation, that's available for the VSL providers. But if you want to manually run any of these contracts, you can use the same option. You can also update the system. So the system update has a couple different things that you can do. One is, sending the student a learner app invitation with the username and password, which will automatically kind of email out to the student with the link that they have to follow and click in, put in their username and password, which will take them into the learner app. You can even take away the learner app access and the e-learning access if you do have Moodle. then you can update their enrollment statuses. Let's say after a particular day, you want the system to automatically put the enrollment status to completed. Some of our clients have asked us this, even though we don't recommend this process, because for compliance purposes, you really need a staff to go in, check if all the requirements have been completed before you can mark the student status as completed. That's the process you should be following. But if you have like non-accredited courses and you really don't care if the student has really completed the units or not, then you can use the update the system to automatically update their enrollment status to completed once the student finishes the course. Those are some of the things that are available in update the system. Now, before I take you into the application and start showing you how to set these things up, as I mentioned before, always consider putting the flowchart down on a whiteboard or on a sheet of paper, and just brainstorm ideas and the ways you want to use these Learncycles and the triggers. What are the things that you want to automate? What are the things that you want to keep as a manual process and all that? And always ask yourself these list of questions of what are the tasks, what are the processes that fall within a particular procedure that you're trying to implement, because it all depends on the policies that you've set up within your organization. Have you got the message templates or the document templates right? And to what extent you can change these processes once you've set them up in the system. Plus, what are the different stakeholders that you want to use or consult in sending these messages out or blind copying them into all these Learncycles and stuff. So just ask yourself these questions before you can put these Learncycles in the application, and always set them up on a test course offer before you can go ahead and create them on a live course offer. All right, I will be sharing this presentation with you guys. So I've actually put in some key links in there that you can click in and look at, how to set up these Learncycles, best practice for setup, and also for clients who are not on our new editions, how to migrate to one of our new editions. So that's kind of what I've put in here. I will share this document by the end of the session with the recording as well. I'm just going to quickly go into my Q&A. Jeet, yeah, you're right. So you're on a starter edition, and you'll have to be on a standard or a premium to access the Learncycles. But as I said, I'm happy for you to stay, just see how it's done, and we can talk about it after the session. I'll give you a call personally and take you through it. All right, any other questions, guys? I'm just going to go into the application now. So if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand or even type in your questions within that Q&A. All good? Okay, so bear with me for a quick sec. Oops. All right, just closing off all the tabs that I have open. And quickly checking if any of you have raised your hand. No, it's all good. Okay, so from the profile page, if you have any questions at any point in time once you start building these Learncycles, and if you need more training or you want to just talk to one of our team members, feel free to log a new support ticket. So click into that link, type in your questions, and happy to answer the questions at any time. When you click on help, just search for the word Learncycle, and it'll pick up articles from within our resource center on the Learncycle workflows and all that. And clicking on LRM will take you into the tab that I'm currently on. The subscriptions and billing is where you can find the edition. Just got some questions come up. Sure, G, all good. Thank you very much. All right, so now let's start with looking at the dashboard. So as soon as you assign tasks to students, or even use the Learncycles to assign tasks, it'll all come up on your own dashboard to say, all right, these tasks are linked to you and are incomplete, they've not been completed. And you can also set a priority. So the red means it's high priority, orange is like medium, yellow is low. So depending on your priority, you can pick up your tasks and complete them. If you're an administrator, then if you scroll down, you will be able to see the all incomplete tasks tab. So you can keep an eye on, the different tasks that people haven't completed, and you can just pick them up and reassign it if the staff is on leave and all that. So let's say we click on upload a copy of your passport, and I can see it's overdue, it's not been done, and I can just, change the due date and even change it to somebody who needs to complete that task and go save. So as an administrator, you have the access to change and manage those tasks. But if you're a user or a trainer, all you're going to see on your dashboard is just your own incomplete tasks. All right, that's with the dashboard. Now, quickly going into the organization tab at the very top. So this is where you will be creating your message templates. So click on organization, click on message templates. So under the message templates, if you're on the standard edition, just just so that you will not be able to click on the add new button to create your own templates. You will be only able to use the existing templates that are available ad hoc. So click on the edit button to edit any of these templates, and you can customize the templates according to what you require. Within the templates, we have something called a placeholder, which helps you in personalizing these messages. So when you're typing in your text and customizing these, there could be certain fields that are variable, and you want it to be, kind of dynamic in terms of the student data. You want it to pick up exactly the fields that are against the student's course enrollment field. So click on the placeholder tab and choose the appropriate field that you require. So let's say you want to put in like the start date of the student or the end date, or even put in like a middle name. So just place your cursor in there, put a space, work on the layout of it, and then choose the appropriate fields that you require. Okay, if you want to introduce hyperlinks or images in the system, at the moment they're all URL based, so just highlight the word that you need to hyperlink, click on the hyperlink icon, and paste your URL and go OK. If you want to insert an image, again, the image has to be through a URL. So click on Insert Image, copy the link or the image address, paste it in here, and go OK. Just to show you how it works, I'm just going to go into our website just so that I can get an image. So let's say we want to put in the logo. So I can go right-click, copy the image address, go back into your templates, insert the image, paste it, and go OK. And then you can just work on, how big or small you want it, depending on your templates. All right, but just remember that you can't just insert an image file. It has to be loaded somewhere. There's so many other websites that are available where you can upload your images and then copy the URL. I guess mostly you'll be using your logos and you'll have your website, just copy and paste it through your website. Or if it's for marketing purposes, you have your own poster that you've designed or something, and you'll have to publish it somewhere and then copy and paste that link into the message template. Does it make sense? Do you want me to show it again? All right, just raise your hand at any point if you feel like, you want to just have a look at that again. So it's very simple. Click on the image URL, copy and paste the image address and go OK. And then working with the sizing of it is very simple. Okay, so you can just work with the arrows. Now, just talking about the message templates, by default, the message templates go through an email that cannot be replied back to. So it goes through do not reply at wisenet.co. The students cannot reply back to these emails because we can't bring back replies into Wisenet. All right, but in saying so, if you go back into your portal page, click on My Account at the very top, and click on Show Settings. You have to be a portal administrator to complete this process. Click on Show Settings. Find the word notification. So go Control F or Command F depending on your operating system. Notification. So the notification email from name can be changed. So instead of the student saying do not reply at wisenet.co, you can have a prefix to it and you can call it whatever, Training Institute or Student Services, Student Support, or anything of that sort. And you can nominate one reply to address. So when the student clicks on reply, even though the email is like a non-replyable email, when they click on reply, it can be sent back into the nominated email address. So just click on edit and type in your email address in here and save. So every time you send a message out to the student, it'll automatically be sent with that name and they can reply back to that address. All right, now once you save the templates, just ensure that you've made it active. Only templates that have been made active can be sent out from the system. If you're creating email templates from scratch, then click on Add New at the very top. Give it your own name, description, put in your subject. The name and the description is something internal. It doesn't go out to the student. But whatever you put in the subject is what the student or any other trainer or workplace contact will see as the email subject, and the rest of the things remains the same. And this feature is only available for a premium edition client. So that's with the message templates. Type in your questions if you have any. Now, I'm going to quickly go into the client's profile to show you how to assign a task or send a message. I'm going to just pick up a student who's current, just to ensure that they have a course enrollment that I can use. So go into the student's profile. Under the action against every course enrollment, you'll have the option to send a message, add a file note, add a task, or generate a U report. All right, these are the ways of manually sending out a message or creating a task. So I'm just going to quickly, you already know what a file note is, so I'm going to quickly go into the message. So you can either compose a message or choose from within the message template that you've created, send it to the learner or staff, or it could be like a third-party email address that you want to copy and paste and go save. They'll automatically send the message out to the student and any other email addresses that you've chosen. And if for some reason it bounces back or if the message has failed, it'll give you that message on the dashboard. You'll know when the message has failed and what happened to it. It'll give you an error description as well. The enrollment logbook will have all these different things that you've completed listed. All right. Now, same with the task. When you create a task, you can assign it to a particular person, put in a due date, give it a name, drag and drop any documents that they have to complete as part of the task, and go save. And if you want to send messages in bulk, you can even do that through the course offer. So go into the course offers. Just going to pick up one of these course offers and look at the enrollments. Let's say you want to send it to all the current students. We filter by just the current. Choose all. Go to the action and send messages. Again, you can either compose a message, choose from within the template, drag and drop any attachments, and go send. And once the emails have been sent, it'll automatically put a log within the enrollment logbook. So these are manual ways of doing it. Now let's go into the Learncycles part of it. So if you want to automate any of these processes, go into the course offer, click on Learncycle on the left. Again, if you're new to it and if you're doing it for the first time, just create a dummy course offer, a test course offer, and then start adding your Learncycles. Go into action at the very top, add Learncycle activity. When you click on that option, it asks you what triggers you want to use. Just to stress on the point, for the standard edition, you only have one trigger, so you can only trigger activities based on a course enrollment creation, but you'll have access to creating the task, sending a message, as well as updating the system. In the premium edition, however, you have access to all the other trigger conditions, as well as generating the U report in bulk and sending it out as a message. So depending on what you want to set up in the system and what you want to automate, you'll be building your Learncycles accordingly. So I'm going to take a scenario where the student has inquired for a course and you need to send out the welcome pack, and then in a couple of weeks' time, you need to have a follow-up if the status is still inquiry. All right, so I'm going to tell the system when the enrollment status it changes is equal or changes, it works the same way to inquiry. Doesn't matter the status reason. I'm going to tell the system send a message, and you might have already like a welcome pack created in the system, or thanks for your inquiry. You could have anything created. So immediately when the trigger condition is reached, I want to send this out and with a particular information pack or something. So drag and drop that and go save. So that's the first thing I want to do. The second bit is going to be add another Learncycle activity. This time it is still at the inquiry stage. So I want to send a message called, I don't know, like course is cancelled, or like a follow-up or something. You could have your own message template created in here. But this time I want to custom schedule it a couple of weeks later. So I've given 3 weeks, let's say, and the student is still sitting on the inquiry bit. So I want to just send another message out to the student to say, hey, what's happening? Are you still interested? And all that. So 3 weeks after the trigger condition is reached, I want to send a follow-up email out to the learner. This could be one of the things that works when the status equals inquiry. I could have another activity added into the same Learncycle that I've created in here. So let's say we add another activity within the same option. So when the status changes to inquiry, I also want to create a task for a staff member for a follow-up call. And I'm assigning it to the right salesperson. Set a priority, low, medium, or high. The task is not started yet, but I don't want it immediately when the student has been added as an inquiry, but I want to put in like a custom due date of probably 2 weeks' time. So the first thing that happens is like a thank you for the inquiry email out to the student. The second thing that happens is creating the task. for a staff member to follow up. And the third thing is, even after that follow-up, if nothing has happened in the third week, it sends another email reminding, hey, what's happening? And then you can have another one to say, just close it off. Just update the system, change the status to cancelled. That could be the last one. So I've just taken this scenario, just made it up, but hopefully this is making sense to you and you know how to create these now. So we have those three, and then I'm adding one last one, but this time I'm not choosing a task or a message. I just want to show you the update system option. So this time I'm going to say, like, just update the course enrollment status to value of cancelled, no penalty. And this will be the same way you will be sending out the Learner app access as well. So let's say we go change the course enrollment status is inquiry, but you have another status reason to say awaiting funding approval or something of that sort of non-financial, and that's when you want to update the system to enrollment status cancelled. So it could be a combination of these things. Is that making sense? Like, do you have any questions? All right, Michelle's asked me a question. Does the message still send if the student status has changed to current? No, it wouldn't. So everything is status based. It'll only send the the message or a task or complete that activity if it is a time based. Let's say I've created, that's a limitation in the Learncycle. I'll probably explain that to you further, Michelle. Let me just complete this process. Give me a quick sec. So you just choose the value, guys, and just go save. So that'll just create another activity within the same Learncycle workflow. Now, to answer Michelle's question, so she's asked, does the message still send if the student status has changed to current? The answer to that is no, but I'm going to show you a limitation for the standard edition client. Now, when you add a Learncycle activity, and let's say you've created this when the course enrollment is created. So I'm going to create a task, for example, and have a custom due date to trigger probably 3 weeks after the trigger condition. So as soon as the student has been enrolled into this course offer, you've set up something to be completed in 3 weeks. But in the first week, let's say the student drops out and he cancels from the course, the system doesn't realize that. It still thinks, all right, when the trigger condition was reached, this is what you've set up. I have to complete that process. And it still goes ahead and completes that for you. That was the reason I didn't show you how to set these things up when the course enrollment is created. The best thing to do at the creation level is trigger something immediately, or trigger something where you're sure that the student is going to stay in there as current. But for a premium edition, it's very simple. Just have it status based. And as Michelle just mentioned, when the student changes to current, it automatically just stops every other Learncycle that has to happen in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Because every time it runs that Learncycle activity, it always keeps going back and checking the triggers if it's meeting that condition. And in 2 weeks' time, when it has to set that follow-up call, it's still checking if the enrollment status is still inquiry. And it knows the student has changed to current, so it doesn't perform that activity for that one student. But you could have other students who are still on inquiry and it'll run it for that student, but not for the ones who are converted into current. Hope that made sense. Rhonda, is this available in CRM? Are you talking about the CRM in Wisenet, or do you have Sugar CRM with us? Probably just unmute your mic so you can. Do you want to just unmute your mic, Rhonda, so you can just talk to me? Or just type it in. Oh, Wisenet. Okay. No, not really, because That's the reason I was mentioning to you about the life cycle of the student. We use the Learncycles within the course enrollment to kind of map the entire journey of that student with you. So from inquiry to completion is all within the same course enrollment. The reason why we designed it that way is just to make it easier for you to manage all your different statuses within the same course. And I'll probably take this opportunity to even mention to all of you today about the new application that we are working on. So the online enrollment is going to be changed, and we're introducing something called applications. So same like the enrollments, you're going to have another tab called applications where you can manage all these inquiries coming through the CRM into the course office called the applications tab. So they will be interlinked, and you will be able to add Learncycles to even the applications. And it's not very far. We are already we've started building that. So probably in a couple months, we should have that feature out. And I guess, Rhonda, they'll be really beneficial to your company because you're using CRM so extensively. So I guess, introducing those applications and having that dashboard, a sales dashboard within the CRM will definitely help you with this process. All right, but the process that I showed you making sense? Is it even kind of giving you the ideas of what you can achieve? Do any of you have a certain scenario in mind that you want me to demonstrate to you today? Do you want to just ask me how to set up something that you do uniquely in your business? You can just raise your hand, if you just want to speak to me. You don't have to type in everything. Cool. Okay, so just going back into the Learncycles, I just want to even give you some ideas on what else you can create in the system. So I was talking to you about the status reasons. So just going to take you quickly through how to set the status reasons up. So just I'm opening the organization tab in a new tab just so that I don't lose the Learncycles page. So click on organization, go into setup on the left, categories, and go into status reason. And this is where you can create any number of status reasons as options. It's a drop-down box, so you can keep adding new options into this field. So just click on add new option. I kind of recommend clients to use the status as the code. Then you can know, all right, all these things, work well when the status equals pending. This one relates to inquiry. This one's for current. Or if it's state-based, sometimes you have Learncycles that are triggered by location. So then we have clients who use codes for the location type. So when you actually create your Learncycles, you can say, all right, generate your report, and the status reason equals Melbourne training plan, then it automatically runs the Melbourne training plan or the Sydney training plan. So it's up to you. As I said, just draw it out on the paper, map it out, and see what best works for you, and then create it as status reasons, and then add these to the Learncycles that you're creating within the course offer. All right, I've just got a quick question. Is there an option to send out emails at certain points of the training? For example, at a certain number of units completed, student or employer survey is sent. All right, Anna, really a good question. That's something, as I mentioned to you when I was creating the message templates, in the version 1, we kind of concentrated on creating fields and Learncycles at the course enrollment level. So short answer is no, not at the moment, but that's where we are heading. So next version that we are building is going to have the unit enrollment triggers. So when you actually go in to create your Learncycles, you can have all these messages and Learncycles triggered at the unit enrollment level. Oh, thanks, Alina. All right. Okay, hopefully, Anna, that answered your question. And just to let you know on timeframes, we were really held up with other things this year, but this is our priority moving forward. As I was mentioning, even about the CRM and the applications and things, that's what we are working on. So there are going to be really some cool features coming up the next half of the year. So yeah, stay tuned. The last release, you could have seen that, we had the course offer fields that we introduced, just so that you don't have to go back and bulk update. You can set defaults at the course and course offer level for your commencing course IDs and your study reasons and study mode. So you don't have to individually add these at the course enrollment level when you're enrolling students. So every time we release something, there's new things that are available, but I'll definitely keep you guys posted on the Learncycle triggers and things that we are introducing in the near future. All right, in terms of what I wanted to show you, this was mainly what I wanted to take you through, but what I would really recommend is for you to go in, look at our articles on the best practices for setup, create a dummy course, have a play around with these Learncycles, and do send me tickets, or feel free to give us a call on the 1300 number. It's 1300 365 384. And I'm happy to talk you through this process again and help you really set these things up and start working on this for your business, because I know most of you are on the standard and the premium edition but not use these to the complete extent. So I'm really happy to sit with you guys one-on-one and help you guys roll it out to your own LRM. All right, I'm happy for any questions now, so feel free to just raise your hand, type in your questions, or even chat. You can just put it into the chat. Listen, thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.